I just awesome. Oh, it gave me like a little announcement.
Yeah.
Oh, I just
Um,
that too.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of you are aware, and if you got a chance to read Ray's article, it was beautifully written. It talked pretty much about everything that's been going on. This group has been actively reaching out to bars and restaurants that we host our shows in, and it at this point, what it's feeling like is it doesn't matter if we have a all ages sign or an 18 and up sign, they're still sort of attacking us. Um, I know that the way that this started was I host my brunch every last Saturday of the month at Revival. But we did start it's a open stage for any entertainer, new, upcoming, who's already been doing it for a while. It's an open stage brunch because I've always thought like me and Allspice have always thought that like there's not a lot of opportunity for people to do brunch shows. It's really like you need to know somebody in order to do brunch. And I'm like, well, I love doing brunches. It's fun. Waking up at 6 in the morning is annoying, but it's a lot of fun. And so we started this whole thing. And it's gonna be hosted by Allspice, but I think they took open stage as like everybody's allowed to come. And so they reached out to Dan and Emily, who are the owners of Revival, and they made a pretty stern letter saying, you need to market it as 18 and over because you are adult entertainers, and we want to make sure to protect the kids because what y'all are doing is perverted and blah blah blah. So then we changed it, and then Dan reached out to the same group, but then they came back, and I don't know if anybody saw my post, but they came back with an even more aggressive approach, and they pretty much said, um, we are going to create a flyer that says Dan with a photo that they took off of LinkedIn saying that Dan is a pedophile, and we're going to put it all over the neighborhood saying that Dan is a pedophile. And the whole point of all of this was not only to reach out to people who are affected by it, but reach out in hopes that maybe we can find a way to combat this. Like, how do we come together as a group and as a community to talk to these people? Even if it's not even talking, maybe if it's just like, because I know that Ray came up with a really neat idea of like creating some sort of template of like, let's give this to the venue or the restaurant or the bar and say, this is how you should respond. Because right now, from what I'm gathering, and I really was hoping that Rich would be in here, because right now it just seems like there is a divide in their group. Like me and Ray, and I don't know if any of you have done like a deep dive into these people. There is such a divide in their group. They say so much about how like, well, we do love drag queens. We do love we're okay with trans people, and we're okay with the queer community, and we're okay with non-binary. But yet there's also another side of it where there's like radicalists. There's people that are like, we're not okay with any of it. And so I don't really understand if he knows that there's a divide. I did another like deep dive, and he talked more about how like he thought non-binary was a joke and blah blah blah. And so I'm like, there is no consistency within you or your community. And so right now it's feeling like they just want to instill fear in us rather than actually helping any children, which I think is I could tell from the beginning it was all bullshit. It was like, oh, we really want to protect the children, but yet you're gonna come back at us after we put an 18 plus on our poster that you're still gonna let people know that we're pedophiles because we're doing drag shows. Yeah. Anyway, so I know that I am very open to hearing everyone's thoughts. If they had any idea of like or any suggestions, I will say that no suggestion is stupid. I mean, this is how we like brainstorm. This is how we figure something out. Um, I think Ray, you had a really good idea of like creating a template and giving it to people and being like, maybe just respond with this because right now it just feels like if we were breaking the law, call the cops. If that was the case, if we're breaking the law, call the cops. But right now we're not really doing that, and the people that are breaking law are these people. So,
So I would like to speak real quick if that's all right.
yeah, please.
So the other weekend, I think, or timeline doesn't matter, but it was like a month maybe ago. Um, I was at work and I got a message in a like drag Discord up here in Fort Collins that I'm a part of, and it was just like it was just letting everyone know, and it was like a call of action immediately at our only gay bar up here in Northern Colorado that it had an all ages drag brunch on Sunday morning, and there was just a couple of protesters from this group that I had never even heard about the group before because like being up here, it's kind of like we're kind of isolated in our little island up here. So like I'd never heard of this group. So of course, immediately my first reaction was, okay, bye work. And so I went over to the R bar and there was just a shit ton of like performers and other queer people in the scene. And by the time I had gotten there, all of the protesters on their end had already left. And they had already left because they just like too many of us came, so they left. And like so I would say that would be like one thing that like as long as like we communicate with one another and we like I know you're worried that I know that they would come to the show that you're doing with Allspice. If you're worried about that, I would say like all you got to do is just get some extra performers or like get some extra queer people around the scene, have them like make sure to let them know this is what's going on and like please come to this event for this reason. You can enjoy the event, but also because like especially now when all of this is happening, we need to especially be there for our other queer people in the scene um, and like they're like in kind of like what you said with like if we were really doing something wrong, then call the cops. Like they can't really do anything, so they're scared by us in numbers. That's the only way we can really, I think, combat this is just making sure that we're like they have a divide, we cannot have a divide. You know what I mean? We have to make sure that we're there for one another. We have to make sure that like if they're constantly doing this bullshit, then we have to like obviously we can't fight bullshit with bullshit because we're in a position that we are performers, but we have to just stand strong with one another and make sure that they can't like make sure that they know that they're not affecting us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so just to piggyback on that, that's a great idea, and obviously, I think it's the most productive way to just, also organize and also show up and support these events. And thankfully, there is this really sick local organization called Parasol Patrol. I don't know if everybody's heard about it, but they basically do that. Like this is kind of their bread and butter is protecting drag events and just like queer kid friendly events, or maybe even if it's not kid centric specifically, but they work a lot about or with like counter protesting these kinds of like hateful groups. They do a lot of like agitated work against the Southern Baptist Church. And Stella's been in contact with them, and I'm friends with Eli from there. They're from Denver, but they're also national. So even if you're in North Colorado, you could be in Wyoming. If you have an event where GAG reaches out to you and says, "We're coming to your event. We're coming in numbers. Blah blah blah." First of all, they usually only have like 5 people, most show up. Second of all, you there is a group that you can contact that will show up with more numbers, and their whole deal is like they bring these giant rainbow umbrellas, and they use those to like physically block protest signs and that kind of thing. So I think step one should always be to contact them as soon as you've been contacted by Gays for Groomers. Let them know that your event has been threatened, and they will show up, and there's a Facebook group that they have that they post all their events on that you can join. Yeah.
Yes. And I guess to add to that, like I know that the person I spoke to from Parasol Patrol, they were saying that they are like more than happy to join any events that you're doing. I even asked, the first thing I asked them was like, how much do you guys charge? Because I'm like all about this, and they're like, it's free, and I'm like, that's great, perfect, and they're more than happy to be at your events. I know another thing that I'm working on with one of my close friends. So they're in school right now to be a lawyer, and but they also have friends who actually are lawyers, and they I don't want to say too much of, actually I probably shouldn't have said that. But they are helping me find someone that can do pro bono work for this. And I know that this is something that it is going to require like everyone's help. It is going to require like if bars and restaurants get more of this information or more of these type of emails, and it's all something that we need to collect. And if they actually act on it, then it's something that we could possibly act on it as well. Yeah. Does anybody else want to speak?
I'll jump on again. I know I said I wasn't gonna talk a lot, but now I'm ready. I was ready for a fight, and I feel like I've been cock blocked. So, um, yeah, I think they like to make a lot of threats. Rich personally threatened a libel suit against me, which I think is really funny. But I also think it's important for everybody to like know the law regarding these kinds of things, and if you get called uh groomer or you know any kind of extension of that, and they post that anywhere like they said they were going to for the owner of Revival, that is like a slam dunk defamation case. You have a slam dunk defamation case that like you will win. So yeah, I think as far as taking legal action goes, the thing with it is that they threatening you is one thing. The thing that makes it illegal is if they start publishing it. So that could be putting it on forums, putting it on Facebook, putting it on social media, or handing out flyers calling you, a pedophile around your neighborhood. That's highly illegal.
That's really good to know because when I talked to Stella about this initially, like I was like, is that going to fall under like freedom of speech or something like that? You know what I mean? But thank you for defining that. I really appreciate that.
Also, I've been working with the owners of Trade because he is a regular at that bar, and I've run into him personally there. And I have a friend that is a regular at Trade that is working with One Colorado and another group or two, and they do have a lawsuit in the works against them. So there are some big organizations in Denver already taking note of this and getting stuff prepared to lawyer up and everything. So
That's
I have to
amazing.
go back to work, so I just want to pop in and say hi.
Thank you
Well,
for
I'm glad we
that.
got to see your face.
Love you all.
Love you. I think that's really amazing, and I also think like I won't lie to you. I'm gonna be very like honest with you all. Like I think at the beginning of this Zoom, I was pretty nervous. I think I was very like I was last week I was very sick, and then when this happened, it was like a light switch that came on, and I was like, this needs my full attention, despite being sick. And then I'm sort of at the tail end of it. And now that I'm at this, okay, Sarah. I think now that I'm sort of at the tail end of it and seeing that these people are just all talk, and because I think that and I know that I opened up to Sarah about this, is that like I was afraid, not for myself but because of the people that I love, like when it comes to this community, whether I know you or not, you are people that I love, and it means a lot to me to protect that. And it to me it was my fight or flight is always to fight, and so I was like, I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna fully attack someone. But then if being able to take a step back and see like these people are a lot of talk, and I'm of course I'm going to be afraid for the day that we deal with someone who isn't a lot of talk, but so far right now, and you have to apologize. I'm going to apologize. Is it vagina?
It's Vagina. Regina with a
Vagina, Vagina. Okay. Because I've seen your name and I was like, vagina quartz. That sounds nice. Vagina. Okay. But yeah, like you were saying in your story, like as soon as, more of you came out, they started to back down. And that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Like of course we don't want it to be a situation where it's one of us against 10 of them, but I think that there is power in numbers. And right now we have a ton of numbers. I mean, Rich has 100 followers on Instagram, and their Denver chapter has like 1,000 followers on Instagram. I think we're all pretty blessed to live in a place like Denver where it's pretty fucking blue and it's also pretty fucking queer. So I think we're all I don't know, we're all pretty lucky. And yeah, I don't know. I think being a part of this Zoom call really made me feel a lot better, and seeing the amount of support that I've had on the side from Instagram and text messages and Facebook and everybody who's willing to be like, no, absolutely not. Like we're gonna stand with you. And like Dan and Emily, they reached out to their whole group and they're like, well, we're definitely gonna be there at your brunch to support you because this is stupid. And so I think um being able to see how truly weak these people are, that's a lot of talk and it's not a lot of action, which I'm right now I'm really thankful for. So yeah, I do want to say thank you to everybody who was a part of this and who um took the time out of your day to be here, because it really does mean a lot to me.
Thank you.
Thank
course.
you.
No, Ray, thank you. Thank you, okay, for putting this together.
No, thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Of course. The last thing I will say, like actionable item is this letter that they send out about like each drag show is literally copy and pasted. So I figure we will make our own copy and paste response letter. So I'm gonna draft that up and send it to whoever wants it. So when your show does get targeted, you have something that you could just be like, listen, you can come, you can protest, you won't be allowed inside. The Parasol Patrol will be there, and if you harass us, we have lawyers that are willing to come after you for it. So something along those lines, but a lot better written. Because I'm just better at writing than I am talking. But yeah, I want to thank everybody because this is super sick, and I like doing stuff like this. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that real quick, I'm so sorry. I love to talk. I don't like to write. But yeah,
A
I think
good
that's amazing.
matchup.
I think that I think that's a great idea. I think writing something out, just like a copy and paste message, just exactly what they're doing, and then just documenting everything, and then if it gets to the point where we have to, find legal action, then we have to find legal action. Just making sure that we're documenting everything. And if you get any shows that you're really passionate about and you're afraid that the owner is going to pull the plug because of these people, then give them the letter and be like, send here's this. They're not going to do anything, and then let's use our resources like Parasol Patrol. I know there's a few others, but right now Parasol Patrol has been really good. So I think just making sure to use your resources and yeah, look out for each other.
Sweet.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else before we log off?
You're muted.
Benny,
Can I say something?
can I say I love your hair?
Thank you. Thank you. No, I read your article, Ray, and I loved it. I was curious if you have like links with like, sorry, my partner is obsessed with the CityCast Denver podcast. I was curious if you have links to like other news stations. I know I sent CityCast podcast specifically. I sent their email to Stella because they had an episode that I had some critiques about. So I tried to put Stella in contact with them, but I was gonna ask you, Ray, as like a journalist and everything, if you had other ways to like get the word out almost, just so we can show the strength in numbers and whatnot. Because I don't know, I almost feel like how they were supposed to be here tonight at the Zoom call and they couldn't even show up to that. Like I know like families get in the way, work gets in the way, like hungry, making dinner, whatever, that gets in the way, but like they couldn't even show up tonight. So like, I don't know. I'm curious if like there are more ways we can communicate to alert our network and our community and get everyone like rallied together.
Yes. That's a fantastic idea, and I love it. And the answer is yes. Um, I know the dude. I know the producer of CityCast Denver. I've got his email, and we talk regularly. So that's a great idea that I hadn't thought of. I could like type up a press release and send that to at least them, but also others. I have other connections within the journalism space in Denver. Some better than others, some not so great, but I think there are publications that should be talking about this regardless of whether or not they like me personally. So I can absolutely do that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you for that.
Has anyone heard of the Times Recorder?
The
No.
Colorado Times Recorder?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I do like them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
love
think
that
if
idea.
at the very least something to have like, um, I don't know, just because the thing that my biggest thing is like I didn't want to call attention to these people at all. Like I don't think that we should even really say their name because we're giving power to them. But if there's a way that we can get the word out that maybe we need to just come together and have like a plan of attack to how we deal with it, like everything that Ray, you were saying about writing up a letter and then all of us documenting, and then if it becomes something that's out of hand, we all come together and becomes like a huge lawsuit or something. But yeah.
I think that documentation part is going to be huge because like we experienced it firsthand with Revival, where one of the more radical members of the group sent a pretty nasty written letter to us versus like what was posted for like example on the Diva Award pages. Like those were two very different letters, obviously, and like whether they want to as an organization claim that radical person or not, it's still the fact that that person specifically is acting under the like guise or under their umbrella, so they're going to have to take accountability and responsibility. And I think that the only way we can really do that is like CYA, like cover your ass and like document everything. Because even regardless if it's somebody who's like an active member of the organization or some crazy radical like we're dealing with at Revival, like it's the fact that we didn't have issues with these people until this group called attention to this. You know what I mean? Like, how long have you been doing the brunch, Stella? And like, we've never had issues. Now it seems like out of the blue, this is happening both on their organization level and this other person being super radical and sending threatening emails.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've been doing it now for like 7 months, and I've just now heard about these people in less than a week.
Right.
And I really feel like it started because they put a sticker on the Revival restaurant window with our brunch last month, but I feel like it became an even bigger deal when Allspice did her open or started promoting her open show because of I think the open part was really getting to them. But yeah, like yeah, I just thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Everything you said, 100%. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, sorry, I'm the one who makes the flyers, and it was a complete oversight on my end. I just assumed that like everyone would know 18 and up because I'm from South Dakota where we literally don't have a gay bar anywhere, like in the whole ass state. So like to me, I was just like excited and like, oh my gosh, I get to be a part of this brunch and blah blah blah, and like making the flyers and everything. And then I didn't even think. I didn't even think to put 18 and up. I just assumed like, I don't know. I'm 30 years old. That stuff is lost on me. I don't think about like, oh, you have to be a certain age to get in here because I've been doing it for like 9 years now. You know what I mean? So like, it's just something that I completely overlooked. So when they like jumped on us about like y'all are pedophiles and bleh, I'm like, I'm just an idiot. Like I didn't think to put it on there. I'm not. So yeah.
Right?
So I just want to
Okay.
clear that up for anybody wondering. That's yeah.
The only thing is like I don't agree with that because like I don't think you're an idiot. I think that you had the best intentions and you knew that it this is drag is for everybody. I don't care if you're a kid or not. It's more about the behavior that you're doing at your shows. Like, I personally don't really like kids, and I've made this pretty clear because I like to say fuck a lot and I like to perform to really slutty music. Like, that's just me, you know? But if you're doing a whole ass Disney number, then you should have kids in your show. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Because what we're doing is not wrong. If it was wrong, it would be illegal. And if that was the case, they'd be calling the cops instead of writing their pathetic little emails. So, Sarah, I love you. I don't think that you did anything wrong, and I don't think that was like an overstep or oversight. I love you.
And
I'm
also
like,
there's like an entire community in Denver of people under 18 who do drag. There's like a organization called Dragutant, which is really cool and has a documentary series about them on like Paramount or something. And they're just really good people. And I know that their events get targeted constantly because, it's kids doing drag. So, it goes beyond us. And I think it's like those groups and the kids that really this should be about. And like, it's funny that like they say like they're interested in protecting children, but like they'll come to an event and like call the kids' parents pedophiles and like traumatize them. But like I think our actual, you know, motivation should be protecting queer and trans kids, and I think that's kind of where it's coming from, for me at
yeah,
least.
I don't know about like y'all's events down there, but I know that at the R bar up here, when they came up here, it wasn't all ages drag brunch, and they pardon my French, they were yelling faggot at people entering the show. And it's like, so you're here to protect kids, but you're just like like yelling these slurs, like calling like talking about how like vile we are. And it's not even to the drag performers, it's the people bringing their kids into the show. And
yeah,
it's like, if you really wanted to protect the kids, wouldn't you, I don't know, try to like, if that's what you really wanted to do, wouldn't you try to pull the parents aside and have a nice gentle conversation with them, and like just try having a conversation, like not
yeah,
yeah, no, that's why it's not about the kids, they're just assholes.
yeah. 100%. To sum it up, that's 100% what it is. I mean, like, we can talk about this until we're blue in the face, and there's absolutely no reasoning with these people. But the bottom line is it's not about protecting kids. It's just they just don't want to see us doing what we're doing, and it doesn't matter if they do it through fear or they try to have a nice conversation with us. I feel like they are leaning more towards the instilling fear in us. But like we've discussed, if we stick together and we work on documentation and we work on plans of action, we're going to get through this. And whether they go away or not, we're going to get to a point where these people are not really going to affect us. And it's pretty clear that they're not really about action. Like, I don't want to egg anybody on, but they're just not, they don't really seem to be about action, or else somebody would have shown up into this group chat, which they haven't done. So, yeah.
No, when I saw the letter they wrote for Meow Wolf for the
Yeah.
Diva Awards, I was like, I don't know if it's because I'm my mom's like kid or what, but like that sounded threatening.
Yeah, and they meant it that way. They wanted it to be threatening, but if I'm being honest, I don't think that they're going to show up. And I know that Jessica Lahore is going to do everything that she can to make sure that this is something that is not going to affect us. So, but I do want to point out we have a minute left before this thing gets shut down. So I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who was a part of this. I really, really genuinely appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions or you want to talk more about it, I'm always available, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
We love you, Stella.
I love
Thank
you.
you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Ray, for putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was good to meet all of y'all. Also, have a great night. And yeah, thanks
Yes.
again.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.